Hi guys, Ramsey here. Welcome to another video. Today we are doing a Perfumers portfolio video, and we're going to focus on Jacques Cavallier. And the reason that I'm doing these videos, if you guys, have watched some of my channel, or maybe if you're new to my channel and you haven't watched kind of what I'm all about, is I really want to highlight the people behind the bottle, if you will. Most people go to a store, they look at a bottle, and they see Tom Ford, and they think, oh, Tom Ford made that. It's almost like a revolution, or almost like an epiphany moment for people, if you will, to look at a bottle and realize that there was actually another person behind the brand that actually made that, a real human being. Not a computer. Well, computers are starting to come into perfumery, but it's somebody who views this as an art form, not as just a unit to sell, not a product to pump out, not a sales number to hit. And that's what I'm all about, the art of perfumery. And so Jacques Cavallier is a guy who has been in the industry forever. He's an old timer, and I'll read you a little bit about him. But basically his story, this is some interesting facts from Parfumo.net, which I love that website, by the way. So personalization is the key to luxury. Jacques Cavallier, born in 1962, is considered the ultimate reference for aspiring perfumers. Since the 15th century, his family has lived and worked in the perfume capital of Gauche. His father and grandfather already practiced this profession, so it was natural that Jacques Cavallier-Belletrud also followed this path. He was immersed in the fine art of fragrance as a child. As a teenager and during his vacations, he earned his pocket money by working as a temp at several manufacturers in Grasse. After graduating from high school, his language studies took him to Nice, but in the world of beautiful fragrances kept calling him, and this could not be ignored. His first professional stop was the fragrance manufacturer Cherabot. After 3 years, he moved to Quest International in the Netherlands. In 1988, he joined the company PFW Aroma Chemicals BV, and finally in 1990, Firmenich successfully recruited him. There, he worked with Alberto Morillas, with whom he created Truth for Calvin Klein, Chic for Carolina Herrera, and Haute Couture for Givenchy, among others. For YSL, he created Amour pour Homme, alongside Olivier Cresp for Cacharel, Midnight Poison for Christian Dior, Nina for Nina Ricci, and Tom Ford Cinema and Rive Gauche pour Homme, along with others. Constant novelties to characterize the secret of success of many perfumes by Jacques Cavallier-Belletrud. He integrated the synthetic fragrance Cologne 1951 into many of his creations. This fresh maritime note is convincing, for example, in Giorgio Armani's Acqua di Gio pour Homme, and L'Eau d'Issy for the Japanese design star Issey Miyake. In 2012, the master perfumer left Firmenich to join LVMH Group, Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy, as an in-house perfumer. Since then, he has created over 30 fragrances for Louis Vuitton alone. His latest genius creation was about to go down in fragrance history once again for Louis Vuitton's high-end clientele, to whom he offered custom-made individual perfumes. These high exclusives made-to-measure perfumes create something unique, once again, haute couture for the nose. Okay, so he is currently the in-house perfumer of Louis Vuitton, and I have to admit, I'm not the biggest fan of the fragrances from Louis Vuitton that I have smelled. Maybe Nuit de Feu and Ombre Nomad would be two from the list that I would love to have, but for the most part, a lot of the stuff that I have seen and briefly gotten my nose on from small samples, I haven't given any of these full wears, but the 30 fragrances from Louis Vuitton that he created, I'm kind of like, whatever. The $1,800 oud or whatever it is, I'm not very interested in. I mean, I would love to smell it, but I'm definitely not paying $1,800 for a Louis Vuitton oud. But there are other fragrances that he has made that I would love to get my nose on. Well, I used to own L'Eau d'Issy pour Homme. That was a fragrance my college girlfriend picked for me to wear before I was really into fragrances, when I only had one. And then, of course, he made Acqua di Gio with Alberto Morillas. So he has had some big-time hits, but he's been around forever. And let's start with a couple of the fragrances from my from my why can't I think of words today? Collection. Before I do that though, we're gonna do scent of the day, as is customary on my channel, and I'm going to show you a very special fragrance that I actually ended up purchasing, and this is the first time I've given it a full wear, and I am loving this fragrance. It's so good. So it's from the house of Ralph Lauren, and it's called Chaps. Okay, now here's the thing about Chaps. Chaps is discontinued. Okay, here's the bottle. It's a splash. It has that beautiful longhorn on the front, and the bottom, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but this is actually a Cavallier bottle. Okay, so this fragrance was created by the same woman who created Youth Dew, which is one of the most amazing feminine fragrances I've ever smelled. I have half a bottle, or 30%, 40% of a bottle, a vintage bottle that just completely blows me away. It's very similar to Opium, the original EDT from 1977. It smells very similar to Youth Dew. So her name is Josephine Catapano, and she created Chaps. And what's interesting about this is if you think about the time, the late 70s, Polo green was in vogue, if you will. Okay, Polo green was one of the most popular masculine fragrances from 1978. This is 1979, a year later, same house, but they sold this for $5 for 100 ml. Now, I have 2 of these bottles. I got it in an estate sale. They're both Cavallier, and I have a 30 ml bottle that's a Warner, pre-Cavallier. And I plan on doing a comparison video one day. But long story short is this is a chiffre that incorporates powder in a way that really took me back a little bit. I wasn't expecting the powderiness of this fragrance to kind of come through. There is honey, which I love, but it's incorporated into the entire blend. This is a very well-made chiffre. There's lavender. There's citruses, of course. There's an anise note, as was popular in the 70s with Azzaro pour Homme and stuff like that. Vetiver, there's orris root, so there's the powderiness from the orris, carnation, cedar, geranium. So it's a chiffre. It's dirty from the real oak moss and amber. This blows away 99% of fragrances today. Absolutely amazing chiffre, and the fact they used to sell this for $5. You know, I'm not a cowboy or anything, although I do live in Texas, but I will tell you that if you took the marketing and imagery away, you would just be left with a gorgeous, well-made chiffre. I got 3 bottles for, I think, under 150 bucks, shipping included, and I am very happy with these vintage purchases. None of them have turned. They're all beautiful, and I wanted to show you guys one thing. See how it says cologne down there below? So let me show you my vintage Aramis bottle, and I got a backup of this too on Mercari for about 15 bucks. See how it says cologne down there? It doesn't say eau de toilette or eau de parfum or parfum. It just says cologne. That's how they used to do it in the old days. Everything was just called a cologne for men. They didn't really start prioritizing EDT, EDP. In fact, Guerlain and some of the other houses had different names for the different concentrations. Guerlain called it Parfum de Toilette. Dior called their extrait Esprit de Parfum. Is there something on my shirt or am I losing my mind? Esprit de Parfum. And so all these different names really started to pop up in the 1970s. Or late 1980s, I'm sorry. So if you see these older bottles, like this is the mid 80s, if you see one that just says cologne, and that's it, that's actually the bottle that you want to grab because it's an older bottle. And a lot of people will lump these in, like they lumped this older cologne bottle in on Mercari with all the other EDTs, and I was able to snatch it for a great price because they didn't know what they had. Aramis. One of my favorite leathers of all time. Okay, let's go to the fragrances in my collection from Jacques Cavallier. The first is one of the best examples of a proper fougere. And this is a vintage again. This is back when Cartier Inc. was the distributor. This is Pasha de Cartier. What can you say about this? I mean, this is going to get a lot of wear for me during the warmer weather. This came out in 1992, and this is basically a classic aromatic fougere that incorporates a couple fresh elements and a couple elements from, you know, older fragrances like Abbey Rouge, which I absolutely love. I just can't think of Brazilian rosewood without Abbey Rouge. But there's lavender, there's mandarin orange, there's mint, there's thyme, there's coriander, Brazilian rosewood, alyssum, oak moss, labdanum, patchouli, and sandalwood. So it's an aromatic fougere that has some depth to it, you know, especially these older bottles. I don't know if you can see that. Probably not. I don't have my light on because it's kind of a hassle and it fell over last time I tried to use it. But I will say that if you can find one of these older bottles, you can tell by the S2 in Pasha de Cartier. If that S is like this, instead of the normal newer script, which just has Pasha in normal looking letters, the S isn't squiggly like this. That's an easy way to determine that this is an older bottle as well. But for an aromatic fougere lover, if you're a lover of fougères, this is one of the best examples. And it is classic, it is old school. People call it old school, even though it only came out in the 90s. It has that, you know, gentlemanly facet, and I will wear the piss out of this spring and summer. Okay, now we're gonna go to a flanker for men. This came out in, when did this come out? This came out in 1995, so a couple years after Pasha, and it's from the house of YSL. He did a lot for YSL, and it's called Opium pour Homme. Now, this is discontinued in the United States, unfortunately, but I probably wouldn't buy this bottle again. I would love to find the EDP, which has this blue plastic around it. The only thing that's clear is kind of the middle sun looking design there on the front. And the reason that I'm not a huge fan of this is it feels a little bit light. I like the concept. It has this fruity star anise opening. I think I got some on my nose. It has this fruity star anise opening with pepper, galangal, Atlas cedar, bourbon vanilla, and Tolu balsam. In theory, you would think it would wear heavy like an Oriental. Opium is one of the greatest Orientals of all time. Opium pour Homme kind of took it in a fresher direction than what you would expect. I prefer to wear this in spring and summer, believe it or not. This is like the perfect Oriental to wear during spring and summer. And that star anise note is gorgeous. If you love anise, aniseed, you have to check out Opium pour Homme. Find the EDP if you can. I probably wouldn't buy this bottle again. Once it's gone, that's it. I'm not gonna replace it. But Jacques Cavallier obviously worked on this, or it wouldn't be in the video, but I'll probably continue to say that. Okay, now we're moving on to one of my all-time favorite designers. And there's a lot of discussion in the fragrance community whether this is really such a great fragrance or whether it's just nostalgia or you know, whatever it is. But I love this fragrance. It doesn't do anything amazing, even though it is the first oud fragrance, if you will. But I love it. It's from 2002, and this is a vintage bottle of M7. Okay, so this is the older formulation. I don't have the cap because it is a tester. You can see the notes on the back there. You've got bergamot, agarwood, which is oud, vetiver, and amber, and that's it. Parfumo shows rosemary as well. I could see that. They show mandarin orange. I could see that. They show mandragora. I don't know what that is. But basically, there's this, and then there's also, if you can't find this, and this is very hard to find nowadays, I'm very happy to have even the juice that I have. You can go for something like this. This is the newer version, and it's called M7 Oud Absolu. This is the bottle that I keep trying to describe to you guys in my videos, and I do a terrible job. I just say with the square bottle with the weird cap, because it sits offset, you know, it doesn't go straight on, it clicks offset, which it's a nice design, but I believe they discontinued even this. And this one also has the accords on the side. You can see they've added the mandarin note, bois de oud, patchouli, cistus, and myrrh. So they've added myrrh, they've added patchouli here. And the opening has lost a little bit of that soda vibe, that cola vibe opening that I love so much here. This is still a good fragrance for what it is. It's a very easy designer oud to wear. I feel like the orange, and there's some sort of, I don't know, mineral note thing that tends to pop up here as well. You get this like minerally feel that I think they're trying to recreate oud, and they took a different path to get there than this one did, but ultimately you kind of get to the same place. But I enjoy the opening of the original so much more. In fact, I'll probably just wear this until it's gone, and then I'll start wearing this bottle more. But if you want to smell the first oud fragrance, there supposedly was oud in the base of Balenciaga Pour Homme, but that is kind of hearsay or whatever. Okay, now we're gonna have to go to another one, and we've got 2 left. So this is gonna be a short video, mostly because I have an eye doctor appointment I have to be to here in a little bit. Gotta get my contacts so I can see my fragrances. This is Rive, Gauche, Pour Homme. Now, this is one of the best barbershop fragrances ever, of all time. This is one of my favorite barbershop fragrances of all time, and I consider it a barbershop. Look at it. I mean, it looks like a barber's pole. It looks like a shaving cream foam can. It's even in a tin can. They also stuck this in one of these bottles, but it lost a little bit of what made this special. If you can find these old tin can bottles, get it. But don't expect anything to be to completely blow you away. It's just a very well done, very easy to wear. And by the way, that star anise note makes a comeback here. Here's star anise done well. Here's star anise done well. I would say we found some of Jacques Cavallier's. He loves star anise. And here there's clove, there's lavender, there's gaiac wood, patchouli, vetiver, and then bergamot and rosemary at the top. So very herbal, very, you know, sprightly, invigorating. It feels like it's the kind of scent that, you know, if you're a guy, if you're a dad and you want your, you know, your daughter or son to remember how you smell, and you're the type of person that would wear a signature scent, this will be a great signature scent for a dad, because it's so, you know, feels like you were shaving and everything was clean and, you know, masculine and all that good stuff. But again, I usually wear this in the spring and summer. So these two are kind of spring and summer scents for me, even though I hear a lot of people say they wear them in the winter. I'd much rather wear something like this in the winter, to be honest with you. Okay, and then the last one, we're gonna do one of my favorite leathers of all time. And Jacques Cavallier made this with Harry Fremont. It finally came out because Tom Ford doesn't release the Perfumers, which is kind of annoying till much later on. But this is a fragrance called Tuscan Leather. One of the greatest leather scents ever, in my opinion. I have a fragrance from Clive Christian called C for Men. Here, C, how's that? C for Men, which has a very similar feel to this, but apparently it had oud in it, which you don't get very much oud, but you get this more nuanced feel. But I probably would not buy another bottle of this because I have C, and they kind of play off of each other. And but I'll tell you what, I know this has been reformulated, is the word on the street. I don't know exactly when my bottle is from, but this thing is an absolute beast. And It's so good. If you've never smelled Tuscan leather, it has this raspberry saffron thing going on that just mixes with this suede and leather, and you get that suede leather combo with frankincense. There's jasmine here, but don't think jasmine like indolic jasmine that you're gonna get from a floral fragrance. This is dark leather, almost like ashtray cigarette. You know, you put out a cigarette in an ashtray and you're sitting on a leather couch in a lounge playing pool or something like that. People are smoking, and it has that vibe. And they really have a hit, and they had a hit, and this has been copied a million times over. I also have Rassasi's La Yucawan, which is a fantastic take on this in my version. Probably one of the best Middle Eastern clone brands, if you will. So the fact that I have the Rassasi and the fact that I have Clive Christian C would probably mean that once this 50 ml bottle is gone and the juice is, can you see the juice? The juice is right about here. So I've used a little bit, but I still have 60% or so to go. But it doesn't take much because this stuff is an absolute beast, but it's very distinctive. It is very, it really projects, and in the cold, especially in the cold, oh my God, this is perfect. Some people say it has this cocaine note in the opening. I don't get much of that, to be honest with you. But I understand what they're saying. I think it's a mixture of the raspberries with the saffron and maybe a hint of that aromatic thyme that gives that off. But it's so good. I love this fragrance. I would definitely put it up there with my favorite modern leather scents. I think I like the older school leathers more. Azure is a proper leather chiffre. Leonard pour Homme, Van Cleef & Arpels pour Homme, Antaeus. You know, those are like my go-to. Bel Ami, those are my go-to leathers. But for a modern leather, this is fantastic. So Jacques Cavallier, beautiful taste. If there's more of his fragrances I should check out, do let me know. And sorry we have to cut this short. Only 22 minutes right now instead of an hour with most of my videos, but longer videos to come over the weekend if I can get away from studying. So cheers. I appreciate everybody watching. Let me know if you've tried other of Jacques Cavallier's creations that I should get my nose on, or if you have thoughts on these from my video. And I really do appreciate your support and watching. Cheers, and I'll see you again tomorrow with another video. Bye-bye.